Hello, welcome to your video on factoring a perfect square trinomial. Now, some trinomials, either simple trinomials or tricky trinomials, are a bit of a special case. And let me show you first by foiling this example. If you were to foil 2x minus 7, you would get 2x minus 7 times 2x minus 7. And then 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 7 is negative 14x. Negative 7 times 2, negative 14x. And negative 7 times negative 7 is is 49. And then when you collect the like terms, you get 4x squared minus 28x plus 49. This is an example of what is called a perfect square trinomial. And in the perfect square trinomial, if this is the a term, and this is the b term, and this is the c term, then A and C are perfect squares. So the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 49 is 7. And then if you look at the middle number, if you take 2 and multiply it by the square root of a and multiply it by the square root of b, 2 times 2 times 7 is 28, which equals the b value. The sign is irrelevant. So b is equal to 2 times the square root of a times the square root of c. That is a perfect square trinomial. And we can go from this question to the answer. So if the factoring process, so if this was the question and this was the answer, the factor would just be the first term being the square root of a, and the second term here being the square root of c, and that's squared. And then that sign is negative because that sign is negative. So basically, with a perfect square, what is common to all first terms? So that first term is 1, that first term is 1, that first term is 4, that first term is 9. They're all perfect squares. What's common with the last terms? 16, 25, 9, and 1. They're all perfect squares again. So again, this is A, and the last term is C, and the middle term is B, and what's common is that it's equal to 2 times the square root of A times the square root of C. So that's what makes a perfect square trinomial. So, is this a perfect square trinomial? Well, what's the square root of 9? That's 3. What's the square root of 16? That's 4. So if we take 2 times 3 times 4, that makes 24, not equal to 12. So it's not a perfect square trinomial. See, those two things are not equal. So then to factor a perfect square trinomial, so example, if you had 4x squared minus 12x plus 9, This is a perfect square trinomial, so to factor it, you take the square root of the first term, and that goes here, and you take the square root of the last term, and that goes here, and whatever sign this is goes here, and then it's squared on the outside. So a little formula looks like this. A squared plus or minus 2 times a times c plus c squared. And that's equal to a plus or minus b squared. So whatever the square root of a is, that goes there. Whatever the square root of c is, goes there. And then whatever that sign is, goes here. So let's look at some examples. Square root of 4 is equal to 2. Square root of 81 is equal to 9. So in the first bracket will be 2x. In the second part of the bracket will be 9. And whatever that sign is goes in the middle. Alright, so that's the shape of your perfect square trinomial. So like that. It's easier if you just sort of figure out how to do it rather than learning the formula. So we'll factor a couple here. First of all, you do want to make sure that it is a perfect square trinomial. So the square root of 49 is equal to 7. The square root of 9 is equal to 3. 2 times 7 times 3 is equal to 42. So yes, that is a perfect square trinomial. So first term is going to be 7x. Second term is going to be that square root, which is 3. And that sign there is going to be that sign and then squared. So try another one. First term, square root of 4 is equal to 2. Square root of 81 is equal to 9. Let's just make sure that it is a perfect square trinomial. 2 times 2 times 9 is 36. So yes, that is a perfect square trinomial. So 2x goes in the beginning of each bracket, 9 goes at the end of each bracket, and that sign is negative, so that is a negative, and then squared. So what I want you to do is to pause the video, try these two examples, and then come back to the video to check your answers. Don't forget to check first that they are a perfect square trinomial. Pause the video now, please. Okay, welcome back to the video. If you made a check, you could see that both of them were perfect square trinomials. So square root of 16, 4x, square root of 1, 1, that sign, plus. Don't forget the square on the outside. Square root of 9, 3, square root of 25, 5, that sign there, and then don't forget to square it on the outside. So the biggest thing that's going to tell you that it is a perfect square trinomial is if the first term and if the last term are perfect squares. If the first term and the last term are perfect squares, take a minute just to check to see if it is a perfect square trinomial so that you can take the shortcut. Otherwise, if you have this question, you would have to factor it as a tricky trinomial, which you know from the other day takes much longer to do. So, if there's anything you didn't understand, please write it down and ask your teacher, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.